Aren't you glad this is not a morning rally? Actually, people are actually yelling, so I tell people I've had coffee today. All right, are we starting? Yeah, let's do it. Portland, are you ready? Media, are you ready? City Hall, are you ready? City Council, where y'all at?
Here we go. Portland, Oregon.
Okay. Thank you all. Thank you all for being here this afternoon.
Yeah.
So there's some electricity here. We're here to celebrate tenant power, am I right? Obviously, I am right. So I'm honored to be asked to be your MC today. I've been outside of this building many, many times. And I think about one time in particular, which was 2012. I'm getting old. 5 years ago. And I actually was right outside this tree right here for my hunger stump.
Right on.
And we had a lot of haters back in the day. I remember the Oregonian wrote an editorial for their editorial board saying that there was one individual, handsome individual, who was outside of City Hall on a hunger strike, and he was demanding 3 impossible things out of City Council. And looking 5 years later, we've done 2 of those 3 impossible things. Because Portlanders realize that we are in a crisis. There are too many of us who are going along with too few, and there are so many people who are taking advantage of the heart and soul of this city, and we cannot allow that to happen anymore. And so, yes, only 2 or 3 things happened at that hunger strike. But what I'm seeing right here is a really, really good thing. And I will take it because our renters need relo assistance, right? We love us some relo. So I'm going to just let y'all hear our first speaker today, who will tell us what is happening today, tell us about the policy, and tell us why we are fighting for relocation assistance right now. So let's hear it up for... Okay, let's hear it up. Good job. Let's hear it for Amanda Potter, who is an amazing leader with the Chestnut Court Tenant Union.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming out on this very cold afternoon to listen to us talk about something so important for Portland right now. My name is Amanda Potter, and I am a representative from the Chestnut Court Tenants Union. It is a union that was formed by the members of my apartment community late last year in response to rent hikes and kind of a general feeling of vulnerability in this housing crisis that we're experiencing right now in Portland. It was really important for me personally to be a part of the union because 10 years ago, before this housing crisis was front page news, my family and 9 other families in our apartment complex were actually evicted no cause in the middle of December because our landlord sold our property and the new investor came in and decided to put up condos. And my family was on the street until we could find a place to live. And fortunately, we did find a place to live, but it's getting harder and harder for that to happen for folks now because rents are high and relocation costs are high, and it's difficult to find housing in the city right now. So I'm here as a representative from our tenants union to support the relocation assistance movement because we think that it's a really important first step in protecting tenants in this city and all over, really, because what's happening right now, we have no protections, and it makes us feel very vulnerable. And so I'm here to publicly give you guys our support. Not you guys, but the relocation assistance measure. So thank you for having me, and take care.
All right, the more the merrier. Let's hear it again for Amanda. One thing that is so important right now is that we hear the voices of tenants in City Hall. For too long, we have had city commissioners elected who do not understand what it means to be a renter. And what's so important about this proposal is not that we have champions in City Hall, which we do. Thank you, Chloe. I see you right there. Here for Chloe daily. But we have renters and tenants showing up today. That's what's important. So please applaud yourselves for being here. So we're going to start with our first chant, okay? So we keep the energy high. We're going to do an easy one. Margot, do you want to lead us in the first chant?
What is it?
Let's just do chant tenant power.
Okay, when I say tenant, you say power. Tenant.
Power!
Tenant. Power. When I say tenant, you say power. Tenant.
Power!
Tenant.
Power! Woo! Our next speaker is Kelsey Schomburger.
Thanks, everyone. I'm really happy to be here. I had a no-cause eviction and had to move out of my house just recently. This was just the other day, so it's all very fresh right now. And I'm going to talk to you about Portland Tenants United and building this housing movement for a Tenants Bill of Rights. So today is a historic moment for the city of Portland. In what would be the greatest measure taken for tenants' protections, perhaps ever here in Portland, the city commissioners will be voting on what could serve as a life raft for the people facing the threat of displacement now. This is a state of emergency, and this could be the very first step in helping with relief to those who are victims in this crisis. We're all here with a great showing of support to send the message to our elected officials who are responsible to the people of Portland, many of whom are tenants and people who are extremely vulnerable and exposed to threats under this housing emergency. So relocation assistance is a step towards stronger protections and aid to those being destabilized during this state of emergency. No-cause evictions and rent increases are extremely traumatic and a real threat facing tenants today. And I'm someone who faced that actually myself personally. I was here on August 31st when I testified for the extension of the housing state of emergency. And I told the commissioners then that I'm a very vulnerable person in this situation. I'm chronically ill, my finances are very precarious, and I have struggled with income as it's very hard for me to continue work. I talked to the commissioners and I testified saying that I was under the threat of losing housing if I were to receive an exorbitant rent increase or a no-cause eviction. And about a month later after that testimony, I received a no-cause eviction, which threw my whole life into a state of turmoil. It's extremely traumatic having to find means to be able to relocate yourself, and we'll have some tenants sharing their stories on that process and just how traumatic that is and the impacts that it makes in people's lives. So, let me see. I want to drive home the importance of this policy to take measures to protect and relieve the most vulnerable in Portland, who now face the threat of a right-wing administration under Trump, which is already showing up here with ICE preparing raids. These struggles are connected. Our struggles are connected, and I believe that the housing state of emergency and building a housing movement that is really fighting to protect people is the beginning and a place where we can build off of to build this growing fighting movement. I want to share a quote from Margot that really communicates how close to home this housing crisis really is and why we need a tenant bill of rights to protect and ensure the responsibility of the landlords to be accountable for their role in the city as housing providers. Portlanders who are most vulnerable to the threats of the Trump administration, people of color, immigrants and refugees, the LGBTQ community, those with low and fixed incomes, and those with health and disability issues, are also those who experience the most housing insecurity. If we are truly committed to being a sanctuary city, then we must fortify our communities by making sure that first and foremost, home is a sanctuary. This is why we cannot wait for the legislative session. We cannot wait for more supply to come online. We cannot wait another day. We are proud to stand with a strong coalition of partners from community-based organizations and organized labor as we ask the city to act now. When workers, tenants, and the most impacted communities organize together, we win. And that is from Margot, who I have been working with in organizing. So Portland Tenants United has offered us a way to fight for protections and for emergency relief with a platform seen in our points of unity. And we are so grateful that Chloe Udaly has been working with us and tenants to fight for these protections at the city level, which is really necessary for actual action to be taken to protect people who are so exposed and vulnerable at this time. A key point in our points of unity that I really want to reiterate here, as there's major discussion about landlords paying moving assistance, is that it's truly, it's a life raft, it's a relief, and it's a support that is needed in this crisis. So we believe that housing providers supply a critical public service that should serve primarily as an investment into the health and welfare of the community, not as a vehicle of personal wealth. Yes. As such, they must prioritize the stability, welfare, and dignity of their tenants over the profitability of their property. Yes. We also believe that tenants have the power, the right, and the agency to organize for mutual aid and protection and to determine the rules and conditions of their tenancy through collective bargaining and other means. We need landlords to come to the table to talk to us as tenants. We need them to not be removed from our lives because this affects us so intimately. I ask for landlords to step forward too and show up in support for the relocation assistance, because this is a matter of being humane. We need a tenant bill of rights to rally behind, and we have demonstrated the power we hold when we are organized and united around a clear set of goals that are completely necessary for Portland tenants to achieve stability in a concrete and sustainable, but most of all, humane way. So Keep Portland House is endorsed by many different organizations, and I just want to give thanks and list those now. So we give thanks to our endorsers, Portland Jobs with Justice. This is also endorsers for Keep Portland House. Sorry, I have to keep that straight. All right, so participating organizations include Portland Tenants United, Portland Jobs with Justice, Oregon Working Families Party, Community Alliance of Tenants, Portland's Resistance, SEIU Local 49, SEIU Local 503, Portland Association of Teachers, Oregon Education Association, the Lewis and Clark College Support Staff Association, Oregon Federation of Nurses and Health Professionals, National Association of Letter Carrier Branch 82, Northwest Oregon Labor Council, and the NAACP. Yes. And so we're starting out Black History Month now, and I want to recognize the impact that the housing crisis has had on people of color in our city and their community, and that is something we need to be thinking about as we build this movement too, and to be lifting up the voices of those who are the most vulnerable and facing threats today. I want to leave us off on a couple quotes. So Frederick Douglass mentioned that power concedes nothing without demands. I would say that calling for a tenant bill of rights and this relocation assistance, which is the first step, is more than just demands, but needs. They are the needs that we absolutely have to fight for in order to gain stability in our current times. I also want to say, too, that an injury to one is an injury to all, and we need the strongest legislation possible that is not watered down due to landlords pressing our officials. We need to stand and center tenants. Also, I want to say that an injustice anywhere is danger to justice everywhere, which is an MLK quote too that I truly believe is relevant in this time. We need to fight for all tenants, make sure that no tenants are left behind. Thank you.
All right, call and repeat. Get your profits off our housing.
Get your profits off our housing.
We're trying that again. Get your profits off our housing.
Get your profits off our housing.
Stop displacement. Stop price gouging.
Stop displacement. Stop price gouging.
Get your profits off our housing.
Get your profits off our housing.
Stop displacement. Stop price gouging.
Stop displacement. Stop price gouging.
So next we have Brother in Labor, Steve Damaris, SEIU 503. Give him a hand.
Hello, Progressive Portland. Organized labor stands in solidarity with you and everyone in the working class, including renters. My union, SIU 503, represents over 60,000 workers in Oregon. Many of them live in Portland. Many of them rent. The ability to keep stable housing, the ability to live in the community where they work and serve, the ability to keep their children in their schools rests not with them, but with a landlord who may evict them without cause and keep their deposits while they're at it and put them out on the streets. I am thrilled and excited that Commissioner Udaley has provided the City Council, who we elect to serve us, to stand up and do the right thing. So let's just make sure they know and remember what the right thing is. All right? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Steve. All right, so you know this election was historic, and I want to focus on why it was historic in a good way. You know, we just elected the 8th woman to City Council, the only City Commissioner who lives east of the Willamette River, and our renting City Commissioner. So I want to see if we can chant up Chloe, because I don't know where she is. So let's chant Chloe till she shows up. Chloe, 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 Chloe. It's working. Chloe, 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 Chloe.
Which mic do I pick? Good Lord. Oh good, and my alarm's going off saying I should be here right now. One moment, please. Okay. As you guys know, my name's Chloe Daly, and I'm a renter. Thank you for being here today and give me a chance to speak to all of you. I also have a mint in my mouth, so. You guys. It's been 2 long years of living and breathing affordable housing and tenants' rights with many of you who are here today. It's what inspired now I'm choking on the mint. It's what inspired me to run for City Council, and it's in no small part why I got elected, because we know that a majority of Portlanders support rent stabilization and tenant protection. The tenants' rights movement is an unstoppable force sweeping our country. I hope that Portland can catch up with other cities with stronger protections already in place and lead the charge for the rest. I am so thrilled to be introducing the strongest tenant protection ordinance Portland has seen in decades, and I'm very optimistic about our chances of passing it today. Before I go on, I'd like to clear up some confusion around a recent Portland Mercury article. If I'd known the reporter was going to turn the last 20 seconds of our interview into the headline, I would have insisted a more in-depth conversation. When my, OPB, mic malfunction. When my team arrived at City Hall on January 3rd, we quickly surmised there was very little support for a rent freeze from the commissioner's offices to the city attorneys. So we immediately, go ahead and boo. So we immediately pivoted to the next best thing, and I mean immediately, on day one. And if it wasn't for multiple snowstorms, we would have been able to introduce this ordinance 2 weeks ago. That's how fast we were moving and how seriously we take this crisis. So the next best thing, relocation assistance. It's legal, it's highly defensible, and it's an issue that PTU has been laying the groundwork for many months. It was well received by my colleagues. I'm still getting used to saying colleagues, and the city attorneys from the get-go. But if this emergency ordinance doesn't pass, and especially if the legislature fails to overturn the ban on rent control and return our regulatory tools to us, we will, oh my goodness. Yeah, the winds of change. Here we go. We will immediately return to the rent freeze conversation. There is a legal argument, and we will use it if we're forced to. Right now, it makes the most sense to devote our time and energy to an effort that is very likely to pass and to hold up in court, but we will never stop fighting for tenants' rights. You know, I know a lot of people think that I must be living on Easy Street now with the income of a city commissioner, but the reality is that it will take me years to undo the damage of being a cost-burdened renter for the past several years in Portland. The damage to my credit, the debts I've incurred. I'm still actually stuck in a substandard rental as a city commissioner. So please don't think that I'm going to forget your plight anytime soon, because I'm still recovering from mine. So this is only the first of many steps we must take to protect tenants from displacement, but we need activists and advocates, and this is assuming we prevail today, across Oregon to turn their attention to the state legislature this session and demand they overturn the ban, give us back our tools, and let cities decide for themselves the best way to stabilize their rental markets. I've been repeatedly asked, what's the rush? By people who are apparently not aware that we're in the middle of an unprecedented and at least decade-long, much longer for some of our community members, housing crisis. My question for elected representatives across Oregon is, what's taking you so long? Half of our residents are renters. Half of our renters are cost burdened by housing costs, and half of them are spending over 50% of their income on housing. Tens of thousands of people have been forced to the margins of the city, often into substandard housing or out of the region altogether. We're seeing hundreds of recently homeless people living in shelters, in their cars, or on the street due to a no-cause eviction or economic displacement. Right now, we know of 3 entire multifamily complexes home to dozens of low-income households, which is hundreds of people, many of them people of color and seniors and other marginalized populations who are about to be displaced by no cause or economic eviction. Boo! These households do not have the resources to relocate, and although the county has committed to assisting the residents of the Normandy apartments in the Cully neighborhood, we don't have the resources to stem the tide of displacement for everyone. This is unsustainable, it's unacceptable, and none of the good people of Portland, whether renters, homeowners, or landlords, should stand for it. Keep Portland housed. Thank you.
Thank you, Chloe. All right. As you can tell right now, it's cold. And this winter, we've had a month of extreme weather already. So I want y'all to think about what's happened in Portland lately. Due to individual greed, due to lack of urgency from government action, we have so many lives on the line. So this city, we all need a lifeline. We all need stability. And in order to bring that moral calling to this rally, we have our next speaker, Melissa Reed from the Salt and Light Lutheran Church. Let's hear it for Melissa.
Good afternoon. As I look out onto the sea, I see the connective power for the restoration of community and sanctuary for everyone here in Portland. I'm gonna start with my story because I think it's in the sharing of our stories that we find the intersections and the power to work together collectively to push back and create the community where everyone has space and belongs. My name is Melissa Reed, and as mentioned, I'm a pastor in Northeast Portland. I'm also a leader in the Metropolitan Alliance for Common Good. I am a partner and the mama of 2 small children, Jack 8 and Bridget nearly 3. Last year, we made the very difficult, stretching decision financially for ourselves to purchase a home. My husband could get a VA loan because we had no money down. We really struggle under the weight of massive student debt and the cost of childcare. But after renting in Inner Portland for 8 years, we could no longer afford market rent. We had a good deal, but if our rent increased, we would join the many displaced from this city. The choice was stretch ourselves, pinch our pennies, buy, or move away. We love our new neighborhood just past 82nd and our new neighbors in Madison South and our neighborhood school. But I ask about what if for whom buying is not an option. We work 2 full-time, well-paid jobs. We have 2 master's degrees between us. If this was such a stretch for us, what about others? I'm going to preach for a moment. You ready? Okay. The Hebrew scriptures in many ways are land stories. Do you hear this? They're land stories. Concern for the well-being of the people, the community, through the land. Land means wealth. Land means food. Land means life. Who owns the land and how they steward it is vital, not just to the individual, but to the whole. As the land created for abundance, this is really important, fundamentally belongs to Yahweh, God, and therefore it is gifted for the life of the entire community, enough for all, the old, the young, the poor, and the newcomer. That is the land's story. That is our story with the land. For the landowner then, and I feel this now as a landowner, there is responsibility for the wholeness of the community. This past Sunday, my church community read from the Beatitudes in Matthew, which ironically also was part of the inauguration. Really? Really? Jesus teaching to his disciples about the fact of the matter and the vision for the life of the community, which begins, "Blessed are the poor in spirit." Listen to this. In other words, blessed are you that are not filled entirely with ego. This isn't all about you, but in whom there is room for God, and that always means for neighbor. And I think that that is why we are here today, as we gather and bear witness to the stories, the testimonies of our neighbors. We discover the abundance of the situation, that there is enough life to share, and that your story is my story. Your lifeline is connected to my lifeline. In fact, when we deny this, that is when we get into trouble. And that's when the prophets, and I think you all are the prophets, start railing. In our emptiness, there is space for relationship and the good, the very vitality, life of the community. When the rent is doubled in one apartment building in our Cully neighborhoods, this decision maims families, rips apart a community, fractures a neighborhood public school, sacrifices children for the wealth of who, I ask? Our ask today is the claiming of the community's sacred birthright. We simply ask that landlords are held accountable to the power they have as landlords, not only profit from the gift, but attend to their responsibility. For the wholeness of the community is at stake. I just want to say peace and courage to you all today as we testify and bear witness. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor. When I say relo, you say cation. Relo. Relo. When I say relo, you say cation. Relo. Relo. Because renters need a lifeline. Relo. 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 Because renters need a lifeline. Relo. 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 Because the rent is too damn high. Relo. 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 Because the rent is too damn high. Relo. 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 Because housing is a human right. Relo. 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 Because housing is a human right. Relo. 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 Who's ready to speak truth to power? Who's ready to testify? It's about that time, folks, and I just want to give a hand to Margot Black, who's been fearless leader here. Thank you, Margot, for your fearless leadership, and thank you all for being here. Get warm, get in city council, speak truth to power, keep it going. We're not done.